This might sound odd to you, but I love gambling. Casino games are fun, and the games having real stakes just make it all the more so. I am, however, self-aware enough to know that that's a problem. The odds are never, ever in your favor. In most casino games, given enough time statistically, you will lose your money. Runs of good luck are always, always temporary. If you have any amount of money and an infinite amount of time, you will eventually lose it all in a casino. The house does in fact always win. Therefore, I avoid casinos and meat space knowing that it's just not good for me. In virtual worlds, however, I love me some sweet gambling winnings. I'll throw those dice on any virtual craps table I can find, literal or proverbial, until my character, not me of course, my avatar, is completely broke. In lieu of going and losing money at a real slot machine, I want to analyze some examples of virtual casinos, see how different games have addressed gambling. I guess I could just play some Vegas casino games, there've been enough of those released over the years, but I'm more interested in looking at how games have included casinos as side elements or mini-games. I'm going to be looking at casinos in 3 separate franchises. If you're in Europe or Australia, I don't know if this will have the same impact, though I understand that the Game Corner was heavily censored in those regions. I'd also understand the Game Corner was removed in more recent remakes. However, in America, in the 90s, for once, we were less puritanical than our European trainer brethren, and we didn't have any problem with kids doing simulated gambling. Actually, it was more that the late 90s Pokemania had so burned out our parents on ever hearing about anything Pokemon that they just didn't care what we were doing as long as we did it quietly. As far as I can remember, there was very little casino activity in the later games as well, but in the early gens, game corners offered children a little glimpse into the world of gambling. The casino in the OG Pokemon games, the game corner, is kinda shit. In true casino fashion, the odds are always on the house. It's a dark place. It's a front for a Yakuza crime syndicate in the secret basement. They're doing way worse than running a legal casino. You're also extremely unlikely to win by gambling. The rewards are absolutely worth it. Rare items in Pokemon, TMs in a gen where they're very limited. But you're better off saving your money the old-fashioned way, winning competitions, beating the Elite Four repeatedly, than just buying coins and using those to buy rewards. The odds are realistically bad. The first gen had slot machines. Later gens, I believe Gen 3 added roulette, the worst odds of any casino game possibly. Gen 2 and its remakes got more creative, created their own new game. As morality around kids and gambling shifted, suddenly teaching your kids to play slots didn't land quite as well. And so, Gen 2 created Card Flip, later, the remakes created Voltorb Flip. They were original games where there were actually some strategy. The odds were not good, but not near as bad as slots or roulette. The Oasis Casino is hidden away, a secret and exclusive club you need a membership card to enter. It has a different vibe than the rest of the game. It's dark and quiet. Mr. Chi, yes, that's how I'm going to pronounce his name even though that's a matter of some debate, runs the place with an air of mystery. The prizes are high value, but also not necessary to advance the game. They're mostly cosmetic. Daily luck has influences on your chance, as do luck buffs. You have slot machines, and you also have Calico Jack, which is blackjack but with random numbers instead of cards. Card counting's not going to work because it's not actually drawn from a deck. And unlike every casino that's ever built, the chances here actually favor the player, at least now since a recent update. The odds were actually worse earlier on. But again, this flies at the odds of every real-life casino that's ever existed. Compared to Pokemon, the casino here is much less shady. It's a quiet, secluded spot and has the vibe of a quiet arcade more than a real-life casino. The non-Bethesda Fallout games all featured casinos. In Fallout 1 and 2, casino winnings are influenced by your luck as a special stat, and your gambling as a skill. Fallout New Vegas did not feature a gambling skill, and so odds were just influenced by your luck stat. The difference between skills and your special is that your skills are what you can do, while special is more what you are. In Fallout 1 and 2, there were no real mechanics, a dice roll just behind the black. You wouldn't trust a casino to do that in real life. It's why some people don't trust machines that simulate casino games in real-life casinos, video poker and things like that. Once your gambling skill got high enough in the original Fallout games, you could just mash the button repeatedly and effectively get infinite money. It's not really clear what that's supposed to represent, which I think is a rare weakness in the game's RPG element. Usually the skills do correspond to some real practical action that's being taken, but it's not really clear how your character's skill is influencing your gambling winnings. Maybe it's supposed to represent cheating, I don't know. However, it does make that skill very powerful early on, when you may not have access to a lot of money. It's less useful later on once you actually get other ways of making money. In New Vegas, as I said, you really are just relying on your luck stat since they removed gambling as a skill. However, there are actual real mechanics just influenced by your stats. You can be lucky as an inherent trait, but you're also actually drawing cards and spinning a roulette wheel. There's only 3 games, I've heard, where there was the intention to include more, but it just didn't happen due to the game's compressed time frame for development. There's no real trick to it, but if you win enough, you will eventually get kicked out of the casinos. Technically, there is a 4th game, if you count Caravan, but who the hell knows how to play Caravan? I joke, Caravan's not as complicated as people make it out to be, and honestly, Caravan is a decent attempt at making a realistic fictional game. Unlike something like Voltorb Flip and Pokemon, Caravan does feel like it could be a real game. With a deck of cards or two, you could play Caravan for real. Fallout in a lot of ways uses gambling as a symbol of wasteland vice and lawlessness. The wasteland is tough. Gambling goes along with jet and booze and brothels. And it's interesting that in the Bethesda Fallout games, gambling is not really present. Fallout 3 and 4, you don't see casinos and settlements. The wasteland in Fallout 3 and 4 may be more aesthetically post-apocalyptic, but substantively it's much more sanitized. The games here are good examples of the different ways games have approached gambling, sometimes portraying it as harmless fun, other times as lawless vice. Casinos exist in the real world with varying interpretations of them, and that bleeds into gaming as well.